The controller agent meta has been on fire the past 2 months. With the introduction of Astra into the game and the Viper rework shortly after, the agents in the controller class have been playing musical chairs to see who is the premier smoke agent in the game. In this video, I think we have a solid argument for why one agent in particular is starting to come out on top. What is up, ProGuides family? It's your host Sergeant Frost, and today we are discussing the upcoming Astra meta and why Astra is the most broken agent you aren't playing. Let's not waste any more time, let's hop right into the video. So, why is Astra different from the other controllers? Astra launched into Valorant with much fanfare at the start of Episode 2, Act 2. She was the first controller added into the game post-launch, and she was welcomed with open arms by a community that had little variety when it came to choosing smoke agents. Astra is a great mix between a controller and a sentinel, and that is why she's becoming popular among the pro-Valorant community. Let's go a little deeper into the controller class to explain why Astra is starting to become a must-pick for most pro team comps in VCT Challengers 2. The controller class has 4 agents inside of it currently. For these 4 controller agents, their main role within a team comp is to put down smokes to block line of sight or for their team to move through them in secrecy. However, the secondary identity for these controllers are defined by the other abilities in their kits and their ultimates. Let's break these agents up into 2 groups. You have controllers who are focused on damage utility, and you have controllers who are focused on crowd control utility. Brimstone and Viper are in the damage utility group, while Astra and Omen are in the crowd control or CC utility group. Damage utility controllers have smokes, but their other abilities are focused on doing damage to the enemy players, or they use their utility to quarantine off players as well. For example, Brimstone and Viper have Molotov abilities that can be used to damage players and restrict their movement depending on where they place them. It's not uncommon to see Brimstone and Viper mains use a multitude of lineups when attacking so that in post-plant they can launch their mollies and deny defenders from defusing the spike. These 2 agents in particular also have ultimates that can be used for map control and to ward off enemy players. No player in their right minds would ever push through a Brimstone ultimate, nor would they ever wander into a Viper smoke pit and overstay their welcome. These agents are defined not only by their smokes, but also by their ability to do damage to the enemy players. The second group of controllers are the CC utility focused controllers, which include Astra and Omen. Let's make this clear, Astra and Omen do not possess abilities that are able to do damage to the enemy players, but they do possess abilities that can restrict an enemy player's vision or movement, which is classified as crowd control. Omen mainly has an AoE blind that takes away your vision and your audio, and that's how he CCs players. However, Astra was added into the game not too long ago, and she takes crowd control utility to the next level. Astra possesses a potential for 5 smokes, an AoE stun, and a gravity well that pulls enemies and leaves them fragile. And after the most recent patch 2.07 buffs, Astra's gravity well can stop an attacker from planting if she positions her gravity well correctly and times the use of it right. Not to mention, Astra has one of the best map control ultimates in the entire game. She can put up her Narnia wall and prevent enemies from shooting through it, seeing through it, and it prevents enemies from hearing if the spike is being planted on the other side. Astra is quickly becoming meta, and it won't be long before she becomes the #1 pick controller in solo queue. If you want to learn more on how to play Astra and use the little nuances in her kit to your advantage, head over to ProGuides.com to learn more today. We have coaches online 24/7 who can help mold you into the best Astra main possible so you are ahead of the curve when the meta changes. We also have courses written by pro players that can help you learn the game from the very best players around. Head over to ProGuides.com today to reach the rank of your dreams. So, why is Astra becoming popular in pro play? In fewer words, pro teams are looking for ways to fortify their defense as best as possible when in game. After the Sentinels got nerfed hard last year, there was a void of defensive-minded agents in the game that could use their CC to stall pushes and carve up and control the map. Now, let's fast forward to Astra's release into pro play this month during VCT Challengers 2. Pro teams are having a field day using an agent that has a multitude of CC in her kit. Astra fills a unique role in the team comp that the Sentinels used to fill before they got nerfed. Her abundance of CC in her kit makes her a pseudo-Sentinel agent, all while still being a controller that has a potential 5 smokes to use during a round. Simply said, Astra is an agent that gives a team options. She can hold down the role of main smoker just fine, but she can also manipulate the map and set up traps to reroute enemies and gain map control by just placing down her stars. Astra is slowly but surely becoming meta in pro play. Not because she's OP, but because she can do so much for a team that it would be foolish to not bring her into a match. After Astra's buff to her gravity well, she can now disrupt an attacker who is in the middle of planting. The reason this buff makes Gravity Well so OP is due to the fact that Astra can strategically position her stars in a way where her Gravity Well can drag a planter out of the plant zone and cancel the plant entirely. This is huge for Astra when she is on defense. Astra mains can set up and pre-place down stars on the default plant spots and bomb sites, and she can pull a planter out of the zone from far away. This gives Astra huge map presence while she is alive, and she now has a keen ability to influence the map from a far distance away. These nuanced abilities of CCing enemy players and influencing the map from far away is what is going to propel her to becoming the premier controller agent in pro play. Astra's strengths in pro play is without a doubt how she can lock down the map on defense. Attacking teams in pro play either need to bait out Astra's stars so that they are cleared and not a threat, or they need to find her and eliminate her so they won't have to be afraid of her star setups as traps. Astra also has a potential for 5 smokes that have a relatively low cooldown of 15 seconds between each one. This means Astra can smoke more frequently than her counterparts at the expense of her not being able to move while placing her stars down. Trust me, those extra smokes make a world of a difference in pro play when you look at how each agent is slotted into a team comp depending on value. Pro teams will always value Astra highly because she brings so much to a team comp that the other 3 controllers don't. Now that Astra is finally available in VCT Challengers 2 tournament, expect to see progressive teams break away from the standard Omen and Brimstone meta and witness a new Astra and Viper meta rise out of the ashes. Before we move on, we have to get to our question of the day. Today's question is, what class of agent do you think needs to be added into the game next? So, we are fresh off the heels of the release of Astra, who is a controller, and Yoru, who is a relatively mediocre duelist. I think Riot needs to add a Sentinel or maybe even another Initiator before we get another duelist. We need agents that can influence the map and set their team up for success before we get another flashy, annoying duelist, in my opinion. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Now, let's hop right back into the video. So, how can you start using Astra in ranked like how pro teams do? Let's get into her playstyle for anyone who isn't familiar with how the support controller works. First off, Astra is one of the most team-friendly agents in the entire game. So that means IGL type players or strictly support players would benefit the most out of playing her. Astra's kit is only useful if she can manage to stay alive for the entire round and facilitate her team while doing it. Astra also needs to be able to manage the utility that's in front of her and the utility that she's placed across the map. This is something that you will have to do often while playing on defense. That means she needs to have a more passive playstyle that encompasses facilitating her team first and going for kills second. On offense, an Astra should never go in first to entry frag onto a site. She should always be at the back of a stack, activating her abilities and placing new stars down to gain map control and influence the defense. The main reason she must stay alive on attack is because she is a monster in post-plant situations. Like I said earlier, if Astra can place multiple stars on a planet spike, no defender should be able to defuse for free. A quick stun and gravity well can ruin an entire defense's retake plans if you pull the trigger on your abilities at the right time. On defense, Astra benefits from spreading out her stars around the map to start the round. As the round progresses, don't be afraid to dissipate your stars and move them around strategically as you see fit. It's easy to manipulate an attacking team if Astra is smart about where she relocates her stars and if she's quick on the trigger for using them. A good Cosmic Divide on defense can make a retake scenario go from impossible to easy mode, and that's only if you can learn how to angle your ultimate right and force your enemies to come to you instead of the other way around. When on defense, Astra should play backside and use her abilities when enemies walk through choke points to set up free kills for your teammates. Remember, Astra needs to stay alive, so never get aggressive on defense or suffer the consequences if you end up getting picked. So, what kind of team comps would you want to be using Astra in? Well, let's turn to pro play to see what works for most teams. Astra is a facilitator support agent. She can work well in any team comp because her abilities are meant to gain map control and set her team up with kills when she CCs the enemy players. Astra would benefit from duelists and initiators in a team comp. In competitive, pro players understand that Astra can function as an off sentinel when need be. That means they can afford to bring 3 duelists for kill pressure, and they let Astra handle the bomb carrying, smoking, and setting up kills by using her crowd control. For a 5th agent, a healer would round out the team comp so that Astra and her teammates can stay alive for as long as possible. A Sage or a Skye would be perfect to round out a team comp with an Astra on it. Remember, Astra is such a rock-solid agent that she is essentially the foundation on which a team comp is built on. You need a way to keep her alive, and a Sage would fill that role nicely. Having 3 duelists can benefit Astra because she will spend a lot of time in astral form placing her stars and not running around the map trying to get frags. Having 3 duelists who can do the heavy lifting in the fragging department would take some of the fragging pressure off of her and would better allow for her to use her kit, manipulate the map, and more importantly lead the team. In my opinion, and from looking at examples from what we have seen in pro play, this is the kind of team comp you can build around Astra that would lead to the most success. No matter if you're trying to 5-stack with your friends, or if you're trying to win money in a tournament competitively. Well guys, that's all we have for why Astra is the most broken agent that you aren't using. If you enjoyed the video, then please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure to hit that bell icon to ensure that you stay up to date with all of our videos and ahead of the competition. If you want further help, feel free to check out our website ProGuides.com for the very best on-demand coaching. Our coaches are among the very best, and we hope that you will check them out if you enjoyed this video. This has been your host, Sergeant Frost, and I will see you all in the next one.